Alrighty, well, it looks like we are live. So wanted to welcome everybody to our webinar tonight where we are talking about all things medical weight loss and hopefully answer some questions maybe you have if you are currently utilizing that solution or maybe thinking about utilizing that for your health journey. So I've got some great people here with me. I guess I didn't even introduce myself, I don't think. So my name is Amber Rickabaugh, and I am an independent certified health coach with Optavia. I've been coaching for a little over 7 years, and I have some guests here with me tonight to bring you some gold. We've got Debbie Sullivan, Machiko Sanchez, and Rick Rickabaugh here, which is my husband. He's doing some things also behind the scenes to keep us running on the IT side. But anyways, wanted to share with you just a few things as we get started because, well, first of all, I guess I would love it in the comments because, we're all coming from different places, different states. And so I don't know about you guys, but we've experienced a little bit of snow and icy weather here in Texas. So I'd love it if you put in the chat, what is your weather like today? Have you seen ice, snow, maybe a little bit of both? Is it cold? Is it warm? I am jealous if you were in a warm climate for sure. The sun is my friend. But anyway, as we get started, like I said, we wanted to come and just share some things from our heart. We are coaches, and we have been able to provide help for those who are utilizing medical weight loss solutions and those who are not. So we had some great perspectives that we wanted to share about that and just have a hopeful conversation with you guys. For those that are considering, I think there are, people that are curious about it because there have been a lot of people that have had success. And so that, piques the curiosity for some. And doctors are offering it and prescribing it, especially to those that meet certain medical qualifications for it as well. Maybe you have tried other methods of weight loss and have not made progress and you're, experiencing some medical health risk or issues. And so this may be an avenue of something that may benefit you in your health right now. Maybe you're frustrated at other attempts at losing weight and haven't been able to make progress. And again, have some health risk or concerns that you feel like this may, be able to help. Some people, honestly, just depending on hormones, and I think Debbie probably may even touch on this, or just different, medical issues that they have going on may have just extreme hunger and cravings and things that they cannot overcome to be successful in their health. So I know for those people, this has definitely been something they've utilized to help them overcome that. And then, just like I said, people experiencing risk, health, and challenges that for long-term health, if you can get a handle on it now before it continues to become an issue, it will help you long-term. And then I know there are some people that, are already utilizing medical weight loss solutions. Maybe it is in the form of a shot. Maybe it's a form of a pill. Maybe it's even in the form of you've had medical weight loss surgery. And I think for those people, there are several things going on there where maybe you're not getting adequate guidance potentially with the nutrition that you should be having to make sure that you're getting what your body needs to be successful on your journey in the first place, and also to preserve, muscle mass and bone structure and all the things. So that's something to consider. And if you're already utilizing medications, maybe you're interested in, what should your nutrition look like? Because you're maybe have a limited appetite and you can only eat so much. So, what does that look like for you? Maybe you need some accountability or advice on, what that needs to look like customized for you and your journey. Maybe you've gone so far on your journey that now you've hit a plateau and you're stuck and can't make additional progress, and maybe you need some assistance with that. Maybe you're having, uncomfortable side effects from the medication, and maybe want to have a conversation about maybe how you could eat a certain way to where maybe you don't have as many of those side effects. Maybe you're experiencing muscle wasting. We've all heard I've heard like the, what do you call it? Semaglutide butt, or rear end or whatever you want to call it. Or even face, if you will. So maybe if you're utilizing those, you're experiencing some of that and you want to stop that trend, if you will, so that you can preserve your muscle mass moving forward. So all of those things to consider, hopefully will add value in being able to answer a lot of those questions that you have and help you make an informed decision either on whether or not it may be a good solution for you, or whether or not maybe you need some additional help in that nutritional area, if in fact you are utilizing those medications. So first up, we're going to have Debbie speak, and she is in the medical field and she is a researcher much like me. So she has done a deep dive into all things medical weight loss, and I wanted her to come and just share from her heart some of the things that she's learned about this as we move forward in this discussion. So Debbie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Amber. I'm really excited to be here. And I have to tell you that obviously there's so much buzz around medically supported weight loss. So we're going to talk about what some of the myths are, what some of the misconceptions are. I'm going to talk about some of the stigmas about medically supported weight loss, and stigmas that are held by both medical professionals and members of the general public. And without getting lost in too much scientific and medical mumbo jumbo, I'm going to talk about where we are presently with anti-obesity medications. But first, in the interest of full disclosure, I have to go on record to say that the topic of medically supported weight loss has really challenged me and some of my beliefs and assumptions. And so I have done quite a bit of research on the subject. I've had to really set aside some personal biases and some of my history with the subject. And I've had to learn to approach the topic with an open mind and not with emotion. So by way of background, I am a physician assistant now in my 34th year of practice. And I've been around long enough to remember some of the horror stories from the bad drugs, the radical surgical procedures, and so many of the negative outcomes associated with those things. And I've really struggled on a personal level with my weight. And I started being overweight at age 8. So when I say that this is personal for me, it's personal on a lot of levels. And I'm both an Optavia client and an independent certified coach. So I'm still on my journey. And I'm happy to have other people like Amber and the others tonight on the journey with me. So to lay a little bit of the foundation, let's talk about obesity and what it is and what it isn't. The actual definition is an abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that presents a risk to health. And so when we talk about obesity, a lot of times you'll hear BMI, and those are numbers that kind of just give us a gauge of what severity the obesity is. And what it's important to recognize is obesity is not a lack of willpower. It's not a genetic condition that you inherit and that's just the way it's going to be. It's not an emotional problem. So if you've ever thought those things, like I've thought those things, we need to change our thinking. There are certainly some medical conditions that cause or contribute to obesity. And by the way, we treat those conditions with medications. But really, it's multifactorial. It's hard to put your finger on just one thing that causes obesity. It's accumulation and an addition of things. And so when you lose weight, the body's natural response includes an increase in one of our key hunger hormones, ghrelin, and a decrease in the fullness hormone, leptin. And there's not a lot that you can do to override your body's natural responses. So I remember when I first started on my journey and I started reading Habits of Health, and Dr. Anderson, the founder of Optavia, says right on page 39, it's not your fault that you're struggling. Can I just tell y'all that that really filled me with so much hope? because I felt like such a failure when it came to controlling my weight. And I had been successful in so a lot of other areas of my life, but this was one that I just couldn't seem to have the willpower to do it. And I thought it was always my fault. And he went on to explain how our brains are hardwired to be hunters and gatherers. And we ate food when we found it because we didn't know when we'd find it again. And you really can't overcome all of that hardwiring that's in your brain. And unfortunately, finding food is no longer a struggle. It's on every street corner, it's in every home, and it's available 24/7. So while we still have the hard wiring of hunters and gatherers, we don't have the lifestyle of that. And the medical profession is just beginning to agree that obesity is not primarily a behavioral or an emotional problem, but that it is a chronic medical condition that needs to be managed long term. When I was doing research for this topic and some other things that I've been looking at recently, I read a journal article that made this statement: obesity needs to be reframed as a progressive chronic disease that needs to be managed rather than a failure of self-control to exercise and eat a healthy diet. So let me ask a question. Anybody here have asthma, high blood pressure, thyroid disease? You don't have those problems because you lack willpower. And it's really no different with obesity because it is a chronic condition and it needs to be managed as such. And so just like we have medications to manage asthma, high blood pressure, and the thyroid disease and other conditions, we have medications now to manage obesity. And when we talk about medically supported weight loss, Amber alluded to this already. It's not just medications, it's also surgery. So gastric banding, gastric bypass, gastric sleeve, all of those things. But part of the consideration with all of these approaches is that there's risk and benefits. And so you do want to have that medical professional walking with you hand in hand, looking at what are the options for you personally, what's the best for you personally, and where are you going to see the best benefit and the least risk. So that's really important. All right, we've come to that time where it's time for your pop quiz, first one of the night. So put your answer in the chat. In what year was medication first used to treat obesity? I can't wait to see these answers. All right, so speaking of the medications, we're going to move on and talk about those now. We would all love to have that magic bullet when it comes to our weight and keeping it off forever, but it just doesn't exist. Fortunately, we do have some things that can help with our condition. And there's now lots of clinical studies that show effectiveness and an overall safety profile that's very positive. So I don't know what's in the chat because I can't really see it right now, but hopefully some people put in some guesses. I bet nobody got it right because I was shocked when I read this. The first medication to treat obesity was used in 1893. And no, I didn't transpose the numbers, 1893. It was actually a thyroid medication that was being used to treat obesity because people think, well, thyroid regulates a lot of things in our bodies. And so maybe if we change what we're doing there, that's going to treat obesity. And yeah, there was some success with that, but there were too many side effects and too many failures. And so over the years, we've used everything from laxatives to diuretics, and then hormones like HCG. And then there were amphetamines and more. And unfortunately, most of them didn't produce good results. And even if they did, the adverse effects were very serious and sometimes deadly. So in amphetamine-based drugs like the fen-phen, I remember so well, they started being popular in the 50s and were used all the ways up until the 90s. And I personally have a good friend who took fen-phen and then developed the heart valve condition that led to it being pulled from the market. So again, this is personal for me because I've seen people harmed by different treatments. So like I said, all of these other things were eventually pulled from the market because they were so harmful. And then we've tried other medications that could maybe increase energy expenditure, because if you're burning more calories, you're going to lose weight, right? And that's where things like ephedrine and pseudoephedrine came in. And those drugs were on the market too. And they had side effects and they had addictive qualities. And so we had to get rid of those. And so that brings us basically the current times with medically supported weight loss and the ones that are available today. Now, generally, they fall into a category of what we call GLP-1 receptor agonist. And we usually refer to these as GLP-1s as a shorthand. These is a glucagon-like peptide. And so as a class, you can think of these as specialized hormones. And you may know that GLP-1s are used to treat diabetes, but when they're used at a different dose, they're actually used to treat obesity. And how they work is to interact with parts of your brain that suppresses your appetite and it signals that you feel full. Now, remember early when I talked about the ghrelin and the leptin? So it's thought that the GLP-1 meds have specific interaction with those two hormones. And so it helps to quieten down the one that makes us hungry, and it helps to turn up the one that says we're full, so that it's adjusting what's going on in your brain, which is really important because it takes this multifactorial approach to have success from these medications. And so, of course, like other medications, there's potential side effects with our GLP-1s. You could have some nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, dizziness, headaches, but research has been around for a long time now, and we've had these medications on the market for years now. And there's a lot more of the research showing their safety and their efficacy, and it's time to maybe rethink using them. And so that's part of my journey. I had to let go of the old, I'm thinking about, Fin and all the horror stories associated with it. I'm forgetting about dexatrine and some of those over-the-counter ephedrine things. And now I'm making room in my brain to embrace the GLP-1s and the hope that they can offer to people who are struggling in this area, like so many in the country. So again, there is no magic bullet. And the last thing that I want to point out, and I know others are going to touch on this, as I was doing the research, without fail, when I looked up these medications, one of the primary things that every article mentioned is that these are to be used as adjuncts to a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. So with Optavia, we've got that whole package, and I hope that you'll stick around to hear more. Thanks so much, Amber.
Yes, thank you so much for that information, Debbie. Holy smokes. I loved that you took us on a journey of the history of all of that. And who knew that we got started with all that back in 1893? I had to write that down. That was amazing. And as you were talking about that, I do remember, I don't know, in my teenage years, anybody remember going to the truck driving stations and people doing the no-dos and the, like you were talking about the amphetamines? I had flashbacks of that being a big, huge thing back then as well when I was a teenager. So yeah, we've gone through many different things that were very unhealthy for sure. But I love you bringing to the table all the information that you did about the research that you've done and, just where your heart is at and where you're coming from. And I would love it in the chat. I was a fin person too. So I took that back in the day and had to have my heart checked back when that lawsuit came out. Luckily, I'm all clear. But I would love in the chat if you would put one thing that stood out to you over what Debbie just shared, because she is a wealth of information and she just gave us some amazing history there. So I love everything that you shared to give us, just catch us up to where we are now, and just going from things that were previously unhealthy to trying to get to a healthier version of how to help people. And that is what we're all about. We are all about healthy options for sure. So next up, I would love for you to hear I forgot to mention we had some testimonials on here of people who have utilized weight loss medications or currently utilizing them, and sharing some tips about if you are currently utilizing these medications or you are looking into them, just some tips that they would like to share with you about things that they have noticed on their journey, things that they have been ahas for them, things to make it more effective, because we all know that medication alone, just like what Debbie had shared, is not necessarily the overall solution. So I would love for Machiko Sanchez to come on and share a little bit about what she wanted to share for her tips and her story, and just where she is on her transformation. And she's a coach as well. And in Colorado, who, oh my goodness, she is so active and in the gym all the time and hiking, and has got her family doing all kinds of active, what did you guys do? A Tough Mudder together, the whole family? Yes. And so I would love for you to come and just share your tips with everyone.
Thank you, Amber. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk a little bit. Also, I want to say thank you to Debbie. That was a world of information. And I love that you said it is not our fault. We are surrounded in a society of unhealthy habits and unhealthy food. And I think I just watched an episode where they were showing where centurions live, people who live over to be 100 years old. And those countries are fading because, again, they're being overwhelmed with unhealthy foods and processed foods that are here and around us. So we have to make the choice every day to choose to be healthy or not. And so I just wanted to come on here a little bit and talk about my journey. I became a client and coach in 2018, mostly to, one, get healthy again. We grew up not really knowing what health was. We didn't even realize the things we were eating were so really bad for us. And so we just grew up that way. And so as I started to learn more about how important health was and that we can actually feel better and be better, I really wanted to find an avenue to help me get there. And so I wanted that for my family as well. And so that's the reason I became a coach, is I wanted to lead the way in my own family to get a hold of that. And just during my journey, I've lost over 32 pounds, and I off and on struggle with cravings and things like that. And so within the last year, I decided to incorporate more movement, healthy movement. And so as Amber mentioned, we set quarterly goals within our family to help us stay healthy. So we chose a Tough Mudder, and that helped us to get to the gym. And so we'll do another one this year. We did a hiking event in the summer. So each season we're choosing something that's a goal that we can attain, but also helps us to stay focused on our health, because again, it's so easy to fall back into bad habits if we're surrounded by that. And so creating a new habit is what we're working on and doing together, my husband and I, and with our family. But in the last few months, as we were going to the gym consistently, I did feel a lot of cravings coming back with all the movement and things like that, trying to get my nutrition in order. And my coach mentioned the medical weight loss through where I go through is LifeMD. And it's an online doctor who talked to me a little bit about the GLP-1 medication. And so after a questionnaire and a few chats back and forth, I was a candidate for this medication and started using it. And it really, my experience with it within the last few months, it really does help assist you with your current nutrition. And so I've learned that it does help curb those hunger cravings that you get. And also, it just really it gave me a boost to get back to losing my weight and feeling healthy again and staying on plan. And so that, in conjunction with being on Optavia, is probably the best pair to have if you're going to do medical assisted weight loss medication, it's really important to have your nutrition in order. And I know that Debbie mentioned it's not what this program is not. It's not a quick lose weight quick scheme. It's more of an assist with your current nutrition. And so you really have to focus on eating things that are going to fuel your body in the right way. And so you don't want to confuse it with just being able to get the medication and still have those unhealthy eating habits and incorporating unhealthy nutrition in your daily walk. So all that to say is it's been very helpful with me in starting this new journey. And as I mentioned, being on program with Optavia in conjunction with the medication, incorporating the exercise and the aminos have really set me on a new path to getting extremely healthy. And I'm excited and looking forward to what the next few weeks will bring, what the next few months, the next few years, and how we can continue to stay healthy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story with us. So I would love it if you put in the chat just, if you have any questions, we're here to help and to serve. And if we don't know the answer, we'll try to find someone who knows the answer for sure. Because we, as coaches, we may not know all the answers. We're not all medical professionals. And, there are some questions that you may have that you may need to speak with a medical professional about. But we have been coaching those that are utilizing medical assisted weight loss. So if you have any questions about, utilizing that in combination with a nutrition plan, we would love to see your questions about that for sure. Next up, we have a male's perspective here. We're going to let Rick share a little bit about his journey and some tips that he wants to share with you guys about things that he learned along his journey utilizing medical weight loss solutions. So I'll let my husband take it away.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about my journey. So about 7 years ago, I got on program. I was, a little bit overweight, 60 to 7 pounds overweight for where I would really wanted to be. I jumped on plan and I'll just say I did great. I lost 60 pounds, was looking great, was feeling great. Was starting to hit the gym, was starting to do all of those things, activities. Machiko mentioned a Tough Mudder. I had a Spartan race. I was working out, every other day, if not, every day throughout the week. And everything was going along great. My nutrition was on point. Everything was going well for me. And then something happened. 2020 happened. And I don't know if you remember what happened in 2020, but we had COVID, we had the lockdown, and once that happened, some of my habits started to go astray. I wasn't watching what I was eating as much. I was, just kind of eating whatever, not being able to work out, being stuck at home most of the time, all of those different things. Those things started to take a toll on me mentally. And honestly, for about the last 3 years, that from 2020 to about 2023, I really contended with that. I started to gain some of my weight back because my habits started to slip. All of those things that I'd gained had started to fall away. I wasn't working out as much. I wasn't getting into the gym as much. And I wasn't watching what I was eating. So we started doing some research. We started seeing these things called medically assisted weight loss programs, the shot, Ozempic, semaglutide, all of the different terms that they use for these things. And honestly, I'll be completely transparent here. I was totally against those when those first things came out. I did exactly what Debbie was talking about. I said, the people that are taking this are weak. They don't have self-control. They can't do these things on their own. I was also worried about the side effects because, all of the medical weight loss stuff that we've had in the past, Debbie talked about it. They all had really major medical symptoms, and I'm not a fan of taking additional medications if I don't have to. I really don't like shots. So that was another thing. So there was some things like that. I was just like, that is not something that I can see myself doing. But as we got in and we started doing research, and I say we is really my wife, she was doing the research and she started looking into the background of it and everything that went into it and realized that these things have been around a little while. And the medical weight loss, all of the research and everything that went into it said that these were pretty much effective, and they weren't as harmful as other things in the past. They still have side effects, so don't want to get away from that. There are still, consequences to these if you're on these for long terms, but it started to open my eyes to, other scenarios. And then I started thinking, these are things that I can't seem to do on my own. I can't seem to control my appetite. I can't seem to stop the cravings. I can't seem to do some of those things like Machiko was talking about, where I wasn't, getting out and exercising, and I was just being lazy, in terms of not movement and not getting in the exercise that I knew my body needed. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna talk to the doctor. I'm gonna see what's out there, and I did. I had the the consultation with the doctor. He talked to me about all the different options, everything that was available out there, and I decided to sign up. And I'll say that the shots were effective in doing what they're supposed to do. They helped to stop the cravings. They kept me from being hungry. They allowed my body to kind of level set so that I was able to eat more effectively, and that I was able to begin losing weight again. And I was starting to see progress on the scale like I was wanting to see. But one of the things that I did realize is that just because I had those things, it didn't mean I was actually eating any better than I was previously. What I found is that while it got away from the cravings, I also wasn't hungry. So I wasn't fueling myself effectively. I was eating things that I still shouldn't have been eating, things that were too high in carbs, too high in fats, too high in sugars, all of those things that are not necessarily healthy for us. I was still eating those things, but I was doing it because I was still losing weight. So Machiko kind of mentioned this in there, is that, it's the whole idea of that this is a tool. It's something to help you regulate yourself, help to get your hunger, your cravings, everything under control so that you can institute something else that's going to help you long term. So doing the shot allowed me to start incorporating habits that I had forgotten about, that I had let go, that I wasn't going along with. It started reminding me that I need to effectively handle my health and everything that I'm putting into my body, not just those things that, not just thinking that the shot is going to take care of everything. Because I knew that if I didn't make changes, that the moment that I got off those shots, all of that time, all of the weight, everything that I had was going to come back. So one of the things to think about when we're talking about these medically assisted weight loss programs is you have to incorporate something else in it that's going to help change your habits so that there's a long-term effect. Consider this a tool, one of many tools that's available out there. Exercise is a tool. The way you eat is a tool. These shots are a tool. All of these are to help you effectively manage your health for long-term gains. So hopefully, if you are doing these types of things, you have incorporated something into that to help with those habits and help with the plans and the eating part of it. If not, that's one of the things that we can offer assistance with, is helping you to get on a plan that's going to be effective long-term, to teach you the habits that you need to make sure that this isn't just a short-term thing, but this is a long-term thing. Thank you for letting me talk, and appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I don't know about you guys, but did anybody else relate to having a life event derail them from their health journey, or basically anything else in life? Having a baby, starting a new job, elderly parents, anything like that go on in your life. Put a 1 in the comment if that's you, or if that's ever been you, because I think we can pretty much all relate to that. We've had that happen to us in the past, and then it's so hard to get restarted. Once you let your healthy habits go, then it's so hard to get restarted. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that I can share with you some of the freebies and things that we have to offer for you guys tonight for staying on with us and listening to us this evening. Let me see if I can get this to work. Okay, here we go. So you heard all of us say we are coaches with Optavia. We love the program. We are products of the program ourselves. You know, with the coaching, the healthy lifestyle changes that we advocate, our amazing health community, our healthy habits that Debbie flashed. All of those things are staying the same within our program, but we are now offering for those that qualify the medical weight loss solution, partnering with a clinicians and through LifeMD, as we mentioned. So what that looks like is if you're on and you are a current client, I wanted to quickly share with you if you want to check to see if that's something that you qualify for, just log into your account. You have a menu on the left. There is the Medical Solutions Weight Loss. It says MSWL on the left-hand side at the bottom. It will take you to the co-branded website between Optavia and LifeMD, and you're just going to check there your eligibility. It's going to ask you some questions to see there if you're a candidate or you qualify for that. So that's if you're a current client. So if that's something you want to look into, go ahead and do that. Now, if you are not a client with us already and you maybe have utilized medical weight loss solutions, or you're interested in medical weight loss solutions, I would love for you to put the word chat in the comments, and whoever invited you will get with you and share with you more information about that. But you know, we all spoke tonight and shared with you about just how important protein and muscle and all that stuff is during your weight loss journey. And that's for anyone. I'm going to stop this for just a second. But just to share with you that there have been tons of studies that in the evidence basically shows that during your weight loss journey, most people lose lean body mass. It says the total of lean body mass can range from 20 to 50% of their total weight loss for those on weight loss medications, the loss of lean body mass. That is your muscle, guys. So if you're on these medications and your nutrition is not on point, you're going to be losing a lot of your muscle, and your muscle is what determines your metabolism. So if once you get off, if you don't want to regain all of your weight back, you do want to incorporate healthy nutrition, make sure you're maintaining your muscle mass, make sure you are working out and doing some resistance training. And so that's why these things are important to us to share with you in case you are already on weight loss medications or you're considering it. We wanted to share this with you because we have a whole nutrition plan just for you if that is something that you need to preserve your muscle mass. So put chat in the comments if you would like to chat with whoever invited you to learn more about the nutrition and or the medical weight loss solution plus the nutrition that we offer right now. The next thing, oh, my little clicker is not cooperating, is that I just put together these 5 helpful tips from our discussion tonight. Again, resistance training is going to be important to you. Eating a high protein diet is going to be important to you. Healthy habits, we talked about that a ton. Amino acids, supplements, and vitamins. If you want our healthy tips that we shared, just put tips in the comments and we will get that to you. So you have that. And then again, talking about that, preserving your lean muscle mass. Right now, we do have a limited time offer until the end of January where you can actually save on our active line. And that is our essential amino acids, which does help preserve your muscle mass and or build, if that's what you're looking to do, and or the protein powder. If you need to supplement protein in your diet because you can't eat as much and you need to get in a certain amount of protein per day. So just put muscle in the comments if you would like for the person that invited you to get you information about getting that limited time offer in January on our active products. They would like to get that to you so that you could help with your muscle. And then this is just a little snippet of me. I didn't share too much about my story. I've lost 122 pounds, but Recently, I had a hernia surgery this year, and I did start incorporating not only exercise more consistently, but started using our EAAs. And this is just a difference of my before and after picture in utilizing our EAAs, and just, you know, honing in on our nutrition plan. I was doing 4 and 2, and also utilizing consistent workouts. If you do not have an exercise routine and you're on medical assisted weight loss, or you're thinking about it, or maybe even just on your own health journey, and you want to start, put the word active in the comments, and we can get you information about an app that we have partnered with as well, that you could utilize. You can do a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. It's super cheap and easy to use, and it's basically like having a coach at home, walking you through step by step on what to do for your exercise goals, whatever that is. You can tell it what you're looking to accomplish. So anyway, we would love to get you that information for all of those. And I hope this was super helpful to you. If for some reason we did not get some of your questions answered regarding medical supported weight loss, nutrition, we would love for you to share that in the comments, because we try to do webinars at least about every 2 weeks and try to answer some burning questions out there in the world about health and nutrition and all of those things. So if we could do that in the future and answer some of those questions for you later, we'd love to do that. So put those in the comments. And thank you guys for spending time with us this evening. I hope it's been beneficial to you. I hope it's added value. And yeah, you guys have a great evening.